So, all right, we have ourselves a quality check with the Model Y. And these are the latest vehicles that have just been dropped off right off of the truck. And let's do ourselves a quality check. And a quality check is basically going to be looking over the current builds, and we're going to see if it either gets a pass or a fail. So without further ado, let's get right to it. So, all right, to start off, we have this beautiful black Model Y long range. And remember, if you're getting the black, the first thing you should probably get is the PPF. It's probably going to come in handy. And let's start off by looking at the left side. So far, everything seems to be good. I like the measurements of the gaps from the left to the front bumper to the right side. Now let's move on to the right side here. And that is the driver's side wheels. And so far, so good. Now let's move on to the driver's side door here. You can see the gap's nice and thin, and that's what we want to see. So taking a look over here, here's the brand new interior, all packaged up, ready to go. And let's do the test here. Let's see if it's flush. Door handle is flush. Beautiful. Do like what I'm seeing. Beautiful. Rear, beautiful. Oh, but it looks like we do have a big gap over here. And this problem continues to occur. So definitely the left side still needs some attention. This gap is fine. Now let's check the charge port. And the rear lights from the left side to the right side. So far, so good. Now moving along to the right side. Let's take a look. This gap is nice and thin. All right side gap is beautiful, and that's what we want to see. So right side rear passenger door, which was normally a problem, seems that it is flush. So I do like what I'm seeing. So far, the only unfortunate thing here is the left side gap that this one does have. So due to the fact that it has the left side gap, I'm going to have to give this Model Y a fail. That left side gap has been a common issue, so that is why I'm giving it a fail. But besides that, it is an okay vehicle. Remember, these are based on my standards. My standards are not typically your standards, so if you feel that this vehicle is perfect for you, then go on, accept it. But I'm just letting you know what I personally feel, and this is a fail. So let's move on to another Model Y. So, all right, we have ourselves yet another quality check with this gray Model Y, and guess what? This happens to be the Performance, and we know that because it has the Uber turbine wheels. So let's take a look over here at this left side over here, and let's take a look at the fender, the hood, and the bumper, making sure that there's no discoloration, no scratches, or anything that seems out of place. Now moving along to the right side driver's side wheel. Okay, driver's side door. Gap is nice and tight, and that's what we want to see. All right, so let's take a look over here at the interior here. Now let's take a look over here at the driver's side door handle, and it is flush. And it is flush, beautiful. And that's what we want to see. Okay, so let's check this gap. This gap, I'm more concerned about this gap over here, but let's check the size of this gap, and we're gonna measure it to see if it's okay. So Tesla considers 3 millimeters within its spec, and as you can see, this one has to be about 5.5 millimeters. So that is unacceptable. And now let's move over here, and also this is 5.27. So the left side gap continues to be a problem. So make sure that if you are receiving a Model Y, especially if it's a performance and you're paying that extra dollars, make sure to have that left side gap addressed. Now let's check the charge port door. And oh, so there's another thing here. So this light is poking out and it's not actually flush with this light over here, so I definitely would have an issue. The other thing, if you're getting the performance, make sure the spoiler is attached on. So check the left side of the spoiler. Moving along to the rear, check the right side. Make sure it's attached on properly. There's times that I've seen that the right side spoiler hasn't been attached on. Now, over here, we have this gap over here, which seems to be really big, and it's about 7 millimeters. So we do have ourselves an issue on the right side where it continues to go from big to thin, and it should be very consistent. We want to see a very consistent gap. It's unfortunate that we have to do these quality checks on Tesla, but the reason why we want to do these quality checks on Tesla now is that we want to help Tesla become a better company by pointing out their errors. By the time they're producing about 20 million vehicles per year, that's when we want them to perfect the vehicle. Well, we wanted to perfect it now, but in order for them to know what to fix, we got to point out the errors now. So by the time they're mass producing these electric vehicles and they have all their gigafactories ready, that there isn't any errors. So let's measure this gap over here. So this one measures about 7 millimeters, which is bigger than spec. Remember, Tesla considers 3 millimeters within spec. So definitely, this is worse than the black Model Y long range. And so this will be receiving a fail. Now let's move on to another Model Y, which will be our final Model Y for the evening. All right, so guess what? This is another gray Model Y, and it happens to be the Performance. There are actually two Performances parked up right next to each other, and this has the exact same spec, the gray with the black interior. Let's start off by looking at the left side. Taking a look at the hood, the front of the bumper, and then moving along to the right side. These are Fremont-built vehicles. I haven't yet seen any Austin-built vehicles arrive in Canada yet. If you want an Austin vehicle, you're gonna have to, they're delivering them locally. So preferably people that live closer to the Austin factory. Now let's move along here and check the driver's side door, and it's nice and tight, and that's what we wanna see. So here's another look at the interior. Remember, after you've done a check of the exterior, that's when you want to move into the interior. You want to go through everything. I actually have a checklist on www.electricbuyers.com. So why don't you go head over there, download a checklist if you're taking delivery of your vehicle. Now let's continue on to check the handle, and this is just a plastic just to cover. And let's move along here. So it's nice and flush, and that's what we want to see. All right, so yet again, we have another issue with the left side of this Model Y. Let's measure this gap. I actually recently purchased this tool here, so it allows me to see the exact size of the gap. And this one measures about 5.48, which yet again is too big. But right over here, this is fine. It is 3 millimeters, and this right over here, it is about 3 millimeters. So our issue happens to be this right here. Now, continuing on and checking the charge port door, checking the spoiler, checking the rear light. This light is fine. Oh, this car is a bug magnet. That's one thing you have to consider when you're getting a Tesla is these, well, all cars in general are bug magnet, but Teslas, it seems that bugs, they love them. So now let's measure over here, this gap over here. This is the rear trunk gap, and this measures about 6.4 millimeters. And yet again, we have another problem. So this over here measures about 5 millimeters. And this gap over here does seem fine. Yeah, this is, oh, it's even 4 millimeters. Right side rear door, that issue seems to be okay, but the left side gaps continues to be a problem. So, yet again, another failure. So 3 Model Ys, 3 fails, and that's not good. It shows that Tesla continues to have a problem with the left side. I think it's a factory issue. I think that it's at the Fremont factory, because the Shanghai vehicles are not having these problems. And from what I've seen on YouTube, the Austin vehicles are not having these problems. So there has to be an attention for Tesla in order for them to build better cars. So if you're in the Tesla community, if you own a Tesla, please continue to complain. If you're a new owner, remember that these cars are not perfect. They are really good when it comes to efficiency and technology, but as far as the build quality, there's still more that has to be done. All right, so that's all I gotta say. So thank you and have a nice day. Hey, would you like to win a Tesla Model 3? All you have to do is like, share, comment, and subscribe. And one lucky subscriber will win a Tesla Model 3.